Are you feeling exhausted, burnt out, or overwhelmed on your fertility journey? Do you feel like there is way more to your success than the tired, worn out idea that your fertility is only about your physical body and hormones? Well, beautiful mama, you're in the right place. Welcome to Fertile Frequencies Radio, the radio show created for you to empower you on your fertility journey and finally give you a baby. Join me, Lindsay Goodwin, natural reproductive medicine and energetic spiritual fertility expert, as we clear away the doubts, reframe the struggles into fertile wins, and turn what ifs into big celebrations. Together, we'll unlock the tools to manifest your healthy pregnancy and baby. Fertile Frequencies Radio, your infinite fertile possibilities begins now. Hello, beautiful mama, and welcome back to another episode of Fertile Frequencies Radio. I'm your host, Lindsay Goodwin, and I am so glad that you're here and ready to join me for another incredible and beautiful episode. And today we are going to be exploring one of my most favorite and fascinating topics that gets into the mysticism and the deep emotional aspects of pregnancy and conception, and really about the experience and how that connects to dreams related to spirit babies, as well as if you are someone that's pregnant, you can get an awful lot of dreams while you actually are pregnant. So we're going to go over some of those common dreams today. And what I first want to ask you is, what does it mean when you dream about pregnancy before you conceive? Well, a lot, but one of the biggest things that I want to say to you is that your dreams are always messages. So don't ever discount anything as just, oh, it's just a fluke. It just kind of happened. We can have dreams that we perceive to be negative, and they're not actually negative. Nothing is ever negative. It's just giving you the opportunity to get a glimpse into your subconscious mind, really what those answers are. And so the spirit realm really communicates, including our spirit babies, communicate with us through our subconscious mind. And so when we dream and dream state, we are actually, I wouldn't say leaving our body, but a part of our consciousness is having an experience where we are communicating with other beings like spirit babies, as well as guides and angels, other beings, light beings, really being able to connect with those deeper parts of ourselves that we might not totally be connected to when we're in the human self. So dream time is really important to be able to get some answers while you are sleeping. So could your spirit baby be trying to connect with you and leaving subtle messages or preparing you for their arrival? Absolutely. And I can tell you, as someone that has been treating fertility and pregnancy for nearly 2 decades, that I have had clients that I've actually seen spirit babies in their aura energy field many months before, or even right before they get pregnant. As well as I have had some dreams of some of the spirit babies and really being able to find their parents and connect with them. So that's really interesting when I'm having dreams of other people's spirit babies. But I am a spirit baby medium, so I do have the ability to connect, and I am an energy channel. So it's not too far-fetched, but it is interesting. As well as clients that I've seen over the years having very specific and unique dreams right before they get pregnant, or it could even be maybe a while before they get pregnant. But generally, the people that I work with for fertility are trying to get pregnant. So this is something that they're looking to do. So the spirit baby's energy is very close to them, which means that they're close to incarnating into the physical experience. And so, but with my clients having these dreams, it's really quite profound. And I am going to get into some of the common dreams that you can experience just before your baby comes in, or also when you're pregnant. So we are going to talk about that. So, and here's another interesting layer to explore. When do spirit babies enter the womb? Well, I felt like this was a great topic to tie into this. This is a question that I often get asked about when the spirit baby soul actually is coming into the womb space. That really is specific on the soul itself. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. It's quite interesting. A lot of what I talk about when we're relating to spiritual energies, some of it might not quite make sense. It might be the first time that you're hearing it. And I got to tell you, that is something that I have felt before too. I mean, I'm having this human experience as well. And as someone that is a born intuitive medium, I've had a lot of spiritual experiences. One being my near death experience that I had, where I had an out of body experience and very, very vivid dreams. Over the years, I'll have to do episodes on some of those dreams. Some of them are quite interesting and amazing. But some of the stuff that comes in for me sometimes is kind of a little bit strange, I have to say. So if I say stuff that maybe you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't quite understand how that connects. That's definitely a common response because especially if it's something that you've never heard before, definitely it can feel foreign, like you've never heard that before. So just be patient as you're learning. If you're someone that's learning about spirit babies and the energies and you're on a fertility journey, be patient with yourself as you're learning new, amazing things about the universe and also yourself and how you're dialed in and connected to the universe. So, but just give you a little information on that. I love educating, giving people so much abilities to be able to understand. I do talk very fast and share a lot, and I process things very quickly. So take what resonates. Very, very important. And before I forget, I do have to state a medical disclaimer. You are listening to a podcast, so I am not your medical provider or your licensed therapist. I am providing educational information on a podcast. You are listening to a podcast. Please do not discontinue any medical treatment or any sort of treatment that you are receiving. First, we're going to start, what are pregnancy dreams or spirit baby dreams? Well, we're going to kick this off by explaining what both are. Spirit baby dreams can be both during pregnancy and just before a baby incarnates into your womb. The spirit baby soul is connected to both parents. And also, if it's not a dad, maybe it's your partner. It could also be egg donation, embryo donation, sperm donation, if you're doing this on your own, or you and your partner are doing this because of some sort of medical reason as to why that is needing to happen, that soul, that spirit baby soul is going to be connected to both of you no matter what. So it's not uncommon for partners to also be having these baby dreams as well. I wouldn't say it happens as much because when you are carrying the baby, it's a direct connection to that energy and the physical body is tied into that. So, but it does happen. So if your partner is also having the spirit baby dreams or the pregnancy dreams, that is not something that cannot happen. I have had that happen over the years. So I just wanted to state that. That's always a lot of fun. And remembering, like I said, these babies are connected to you. The energy of the soul is connected to you. So it really doesn't matter how they get to you. Also adoption as well. They're going to find their way to you. So it's always about being open and receptive about allowing your baby into your life and how they are meant to be, into how they're meant to come into your life, because their journey is also about them. It's not just about us and really what we're looking for in our experience, but also about what are they looking for? What is their agenda? So very important to remember. So these dreams often start before a baby enters your life or even when you're pregnant. And they're usually very vivid, can be emotional, and very symbolic. Some women or the partners will dream about babies, pregnancy tests, water. Numbers are really significant because that is how the universe communicates with us. I would say probably the most significant way that I feel spirit babies communicate is through colors and numbers. Also feelings. Like I was doing a reading the other day and there was a lot of tapping that was happening on the person's head. Actually, that happens quite often. Also, feelings in the heart chakra. You could feel tingling in your womb space. As well as I've done a reading recently and I was seeing a lot of socks. And I asked the spirit baby, why are you showing me socks? And the message is for the person I was doing the reading for, their parent, was to let them know that they need to allow themselves to feel comfortable because socks are a sign of comfort in their body. So trusting their body. And the lower part of your body is going to, so your feet they touch the earth. So that is going to relate to the body, the human experience. So it's trusting the human experience. The socks are keeping you warm. So that's how spirit really communicates with me, is through these objects. I also am clairaudient, so I hear things, clairsentient, so I feel things, but I have a psychic library and spirit just knows how to communicate, and I break that down. And I do this with dreams as well. And things I'm going to talk about today are some of the ways that I break dreams down. So this will be helpful for you if you're having some of these dreams. But you could also be clairvoyant and be able to see things. And a lot of times people are clairvoyant and they don't even realize that they are. They just think that they've just just everyone's that way. And you'd be surprised, like, we talk about, over 70% of people are visual, but, and of course, visual learners, but I think so many of those people probably have some clairvoyant abilities. But I think that we're just taught that they're just thoughts, but the thoughts are I don't want to digress too much because that can happen with me, but the thoughts are, they are, a quick thought. It's just like these intuitive impulses that come in, and it's kind of like they just show up and you don't know where that came from. Those are messages from the universe. Whereas when it's coming from the ego mind, it's like a long drawn out, like you're overthinking it. Then you're not in the intuition anymore. So this happens in dream time too, because the dreams are just, that's why I think it's so weird for us when we are dreaming of things that aren't great either, or maybe things just feel jumbled up and they don't make any sense. Because it really is a clash with the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, because you are really having these different parallel realities that are happening. So spirit baby messages before conception. So this is always fun. I kind of touched on this, but spirit babies are the souls that have chosen their parents and sending messages to them during preconception phase. Now, souls can also choose at the last minute to be your child as well. So there is not always a definitive sort of contract. There could have been a contract before you came in that maybe like a bunch of different spirit babies or souls, because essentially what a spirit baby is, this is a soul that's getting ready to incarnate into the physical reality. And so there could be a number of them that said, okay, we'll figure it out when the time comes, depending on where you are in your journey, that we're going to actually, one of us will choose to incarnate into the experience and be your child. So that happens too. And there's also situations when people don't really know whether or not they're going to be a parent in that lifetime, but they want to leave it open. Okay. So it's not just about that, this happens often when I do spirit baby readings. It says that souls will come through and they'll talk about that there'll be several of them and not just one. And it's not necessarily that you're going to have like 12 kids. It's just that maybe you have 12 options and your baby is going to, the soul that wants to come into your life is going to choose. And all of them are amazing matches. That's also, I won't digress too much on this, but when we talk about soulmates, we don't just have one soulmate. We have several soulmates, and we have karmic soulmates, and we also have soulmates that are high vibrational soulmates. The soulmates that we probably prefer when we think of in our human experience. But both are good. Karmic soulmates are really here to help you learn and evolve. So they have a purpose too. But they're usually the ones that break your heart. And the high vibrational soulmates are the ones that come in
when we've done the work on ourselves and we're really ready to receive their energy. Now, it goes that way for them as well. Now, there are instances, and again, I won't get too much into this. There are instances where you're going to do the work together to become both high vibrational in your journey together. The highest version of yourself is another way to say it. So nothing is ever bad. It's just the universe is always giving you what you need. In fact, you are choosing to manifest into your experience what you need. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow because we don't want to think about that possibly we could have chosen something that was painful. But everything is about your evolving. And so it's not, when I say that, it's nothing about feeling guilty or shameful about anything or feeling like you could have done something different, because it's not. You only understand what you understand at that particular time for your evolving. Everything is about your interpretation of things. So that's also what dreams are too, is they give you an indication of a guide. It's a guiding system of how to take yourself to the next place that you're asking for. So if you're asking for a baby or you're expanding your family, maybe you're asking for a second baby or third baby, or maybe it's more, that, or maybe it's that, should I even go down this road of fertility? Do I even want to be a parent? There could be that too. There could be a lot of things going on that you could be asking about your fertility and family expansion journey. So the universe is going to give you messages. And that's what dreams are, is their messages. So we really have to learn to pay attention to them. And I know that things are changing in our society. We live in a weird time. All of us know that, especially if you're listening to me. You're a very open-minded person. But we live in a weird time. Things are just strange. But what I want to say to you is that people are becoming much more aware, like yourself, and being much more open to energy, quantum physics, how the body is functioning without thinking that you need to jam a bunch of pharmaceuticals down your throat or that diet doesn't have an impact on your fertility. It all does. Even taking too many supplements, I'm not a huge fan of that. I think a lot of these fertility programs, and I will not digress too much, but I think a lot of these fertility programs that I see where different clients will come to me, they're taking so many supplements. How can somebody really be able to thrive when they're taking like 40 or 50 supplements a day? I mean, that's just ridiculous. It is. And if it's for you and the supplements are working for you, that's awesome. But if somebody's listening to this that they feel very overwhelmed by the supplements, I hear ya. I think some of these programs have got people taking way, way, way too many supplements, which has an impact on your stress levels, your cortisol levels, because it's not fun to be taking all that. It creates all kinds of problems in your digestive system and bloating. So much of the answer of having success in your life is about your energy. It's about being really tuned in and dialed in to what it is that you uniquely need. And sometimes supplements are necessary, but it's just my personal opinion and professional opinion that taking 40 or 50 supplements a day is not helpful for people. So I'm going to guide you through some common themes that pregnant women or partners trying to get pregnant on their fertility journey that they can actually experience. And we're going to talk about the importance of being open to these messages. Don't second guess things. I'm going to be very direct here. That is one thing that everyone listening to me needs to understand. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. I don't sugarcoat things. Now, why is that? Because that's not what you need. I give you what you need to hear. There's too much sugarcoating out there. And I'll tell you, as a born intuitive medium, there are a ton of people out there that are giving readings to people that are bullshit. Okay. What I am saying is that be careful about the information that you're getting, because if somebody's giving you too much of what you want to hear, they're not telling you the truth, because you and I both know that life is about evolving. And if you're always hearing what you want to hear, that is not how life works. The only way that you can evolve is to sometimes face the cold reality that things need to change. Okay? So I'm going to be very honest with you in any episode that I do, because that's what you need. And that's my purpose. And I've always been that way ever since I've been a little girl. And it took me, I went into a long period in my lifetime when I was in the shadows and I was trying to blend in, and I wasn't being who I truly am, which is very direct, very honest, also very compassionate, loving, and I have a great sense of humor. But I'm very direct, and not everyone can handle that. But I know that you can. I want you to evolve. That's your right. The only way that you're going to evolve is by not doubting yourself. And sometimes you gotta understand that things are meant to be coming into your experience. That's not all puppies and fluffy. That we have to sometimes make changes that are not always easy. And one change that's not easy for a lot of people, I know it was a struggle for me, was not second guessing myself. I don't want you to second guess these messages. I want you to know that and trust yourself, that you are getting the messages that you need. And I don't want you to be scared of your dreams. I want you to use everything in your experience to alchemize it, to turn it into something that can help you grow. Okay? So these messages that we're going to explore, they have a deeper meaning, and behind these repetitive symbols and emotions in your dreams. Okay? So we're going to get more into that. So number one, anybody that's a client of mine working with me one-on-one or has done a reading with me that's listening to this knows that I talk about water. That is something that I see quite often just before someone gets pregnant, is water. Now, let's break this down a little bit. I'm going to tie different things into this because that's what I do. I understand a lot of different information. I'm probably one of the only people that you're going to meet that does my style. I integrate the subconscious mind as well as science, reproductive medicine, and then all of the energy stuff. I mean, everything is energy, okay? Like even science is energy. Everything is energy. Because everything is creation. But talking about more of the unseen energies that we don't have any proof of, okay? So more of the intuitive sort of energies, tying all of this in. I'm not going to say woo-woo because I don't like that. I don't like the woo-woo thing anymore because I think so much of this stuff is obvious. Maybe not all of it can be proven, but a lot of it is just obvious. So the woo-woo stuff, I don't like it. It sounds too hippy-dippy to me, and I'm not into the hippy-dippy stuff either. This stuff is very, very obvious to me. I mean, some of it, can I not prove it? And it seems a little far-fetched. Of course. But I'm not going to say woo-woo. I don't like it. I think it devalues that word, or two words, devalues what we're actually doing here, of the integration of the unseen energies with science. And that to me is not woo-woo at all. That's very obvious. So the water is the subconscious mind, back to that. So this is the feminine energy. Okay. The feminine energy is going to be the darkness. It's going to be the unknown, the portals, you know, when all of us come into this experience, we come through a portal. Okay. We literally come, the spirit babies show me this, and based on my personality, because I have this goofy sort of fun personality. I'm also very direct, but I'm very goofy and silly. I like to have a lot of fun. And they talk to me in that way. So they call it the slide. Like they're coming down the slide. I often will see them showing me that when I'm connecting with the spirit babies. That's essentially what happens is that you're coming down a slide, like you're coming into a portal. I did a reading recently and the baby was actually showing me a vagina. It was interesting. I mean, it's not far-fetched, but it was showing me a vagina and it was this little gnome and it was inside of this little garden and it was showing me that it was going to come into the vagina. And I explained to the client that I was reading that was reading her energy that I started laughing and of course we had lots of laughs with it because it was cute, but essentially everything in the universe comes out of a vagina because everything's a portal. Everything coming out of the ground is a portal. Like everything is a portal, which is essentially a vagina. I mean, that's coming through the vagina is the birth, coming through the birth canal. It's a portal. Very interesting. And also babies are, the womb, it's full of water. So we've got that too. And I could go on and on and on about the water and the subconscious mind, and psychology actually recognizes that water, dreams of water is the subconscious mind. So if you think of water, it can be very deep, like especially if you're dreaming about like deep water. It's a sign that there's things deep in your subconscious mind that have to be healed. So this is work that I help people with to really be able to identify that. So also holding your baby or even meeting your baby. That happens a lot. And in fact, in visualizations that I do, I go through different techniques to walk my clients through holding their baby and really the emotion connecting with that. Because here's the thing about manifesting. Manifesting, the universe communicates through frequency. It's not necessarily what you're saying that you want. It's what frequency you're putting out. So again, this is why the subconscious mind is so powerful, because if we're running things on autopilot that we don't even realize that we're doing, we're putting out an unconscious frequency and the universe is responding back. So that's why I always tell people, the most important part of your journey is your energy. And as someone that is very, 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 very much, I guess I said it a lot, very much respects medicine. All kinds of medicine, modern medicine, Western medicine, Eastern medicine, holistic medicine, functional medicine, Ayurvedic. The list goes on. Ayurvedic is Eastern. The list goes on and on and on. But what is the most powerful part of this? Your energy, you really learning how to take your power back and tune into your power, which is always within. It's never outside of you. Your baby is not outside of you. Your baby or babies is inside of you. If you're looking for your soul partner, they are inside of you. They're not outside of you. They are you, because there's another version of you that's already manifested that. Because if that wasn't what you were supposed to be, you wouldn't desire it. Okay? So I'm very passionate about this because I want anybody that comes into my path, whether you're a listener on my podcast, you become a client, you read an article, you hear me in another podcast, you hear me in a teaching event that I'm doing, a speaking event, please know this. Even beyond your fertility journey, your parenting journey, that you are powerful. There's nothing outside of you that is going to access that but you. And it's about stop giving your power away to things outside of you and trusting that everything you need is within you. What about having dreams of actually seeing yourself pregnant? How beautiful. Absolutely incredible. You can also have dreams of seeing someone else pregnant or having conversations about being pregnant. I did a reading, I believe it was this week, and she was having conversations with someone else about pregnancy. So that also is a message, and it does not mean that it's happening for someone else and not for you. No. You could actually be having a conversation with a future version of you. That could be the other person. But see, we don't think of things like that because we're so conditioned to think one way. But there's all these multiple different versions of you and all these parallel realities that's happening. Even your past lives. That's something I do as past life regression. I offer in healing in my hypnotherapy sessions. I mean, it is even all of your past lives. If that aligns with you, that you believe in that. I do. But I'm also respectful of people that don't, or maybe they just don't understand it. That's okay too. But maybe you're curious about it. If you're curious about it, I can help you with that. But none of it is in the past. Everything is all happening simultaneously. It's all one. Nothing is not connected, which is crazy to think about because that's not what we're conditioned to believe. I mean, we're not even taught to believe in past lives. But what is deja vu? How is it that you meet people and then you realize that you've met them somewhere else? You can just feel it. Or what about meeting your baby the first time and you feel like you've met them before? How many times does that happen? Quite a bit in my experience. My sister just had a baby and I look in my niece's eyes and I know I've met her from somewhere. It's so cool when we open our mind up to really the infinite possibilities of everything. It's just so powerful. And I always tell my mom this. I don't know how people get bored. I don't know how we could possibly get bored in society if we allow ourselves to open up to the infinite possibilities of what's within us already. So now we are going to take a look at the science side of things because, as you know, I'm all about integration of both. I think that looking at the physical side of having proof of things is really powerful as well. So we know that progesterone is known as the pregnancy hormone. I call it the pregnancy hormone. We also have HCG, but progesterone is actually what starts the pregnancy, okay? So when that egg comes out of the corpus luteum, that corpus luteum keeps surging progesterone if there is a pregnancy, which creates the corpus luteum, interesting enough, is actually part of the placenta process. Okay. So the progesterone is very high, especially first trimester. And, I mean, it starts to go down, but one thing I want to note here is that this is why BBT charting, which is basal body temperature charting, is so powerful because the progesterone will continue to rise while you're taking temperature taking because progesterone makes your temperature rise. So in Chinese medicine, I'm an herbalist and acupuncturist. In Chinese medicine, the progesterone is the yang energy. The yang energy, not yang, it's pronounced yang. The yang energy is actually it's like sunshine. It's energy. It moves things, okay? And it's heat producing. So it makes the temperature elevate, okay? And babies are very young energy, actually, because they just came from heaven. Even though heaven is within you and you've never left because heaven is a mindset. And I won't talk about that because that's a whole conversation, but just letting you know that, and there's all these different philosophies of looking at things, but I'm talking about Chinese medicine right now. So if you are going to take your temperature, which I highly recommend. I don't want people to get obsessed over BBT charting, though. I really don't. I don't think that's necessary. I think it's important to understand your cycle. But if we're constantly stressing out about taking our temperature and charting all the time and then trying to have sex around the times, that we're ovulating, and it just makes it like not fun. And that creates cortisol. Stress. What does stress do? It makes the progesterone go down. So here we're talking about progesterone. So, I mean, again, I'm not your medical provider, but this is education for you, and maybe you're already thinking about this and you needed to hear someone say that. you know? So like I said, the temperature will continue to rise. So progesterone can really have an effect on your dreams. This is why I'm bringing this up, which is interesting. And Western medicine supports that. So we even see how significant our dreams can be when we're pregnant. So maybe that is also significant when you're not pregnant yet, but your body knows that it's near, and so your hormones are fluctuating. It's interesting to note that animals will know when just before you get pregnant. They'll become very needy or laying on your belly, wanting to follow you from room to room, acting very different or maybe slightly different. Maybe you already have a needy animal. But it will be different than what you're used to. So as the progesterone, back to the progesterone, as the progesterone is rising, the temperature doesn't ever fall, because when we have our period, the estrogen comes and the progesterone falls, which takes the temperature back down. So that's the estrogen phase in the cycle, is when your period starts. Around that time, the progesterone starts to go down. So it's usually a significant enough change that you can actually see it on the charting. And then when you see it on the charting, women a lot of times know that they're pregnant before they even get a positive pregnancy test, because they've been BBT charting. So cool stuff. So dreams can become very vivid just before conceiving, like I stated, and also during pregnancy. It's also in a time when you become more intuitive and dialed into the universal frequencies than you normally are, because baby souls have not been conditioned yet by our society's conditioning, which makes their energies very strong and angelic. So almost like that hot energy again, like sunshine. And so, and sometimes, my philosophy is on that, like morning sickness, feeling really hot, very emotional, night sweats, some of this stuff also, I know that there's scientific proof going on there too. But energetically, I feel that it's because the baby's energy, the soul's energy, is so powerful that your physical body is not used to that, and so that's why the morning sickness is happening. We don't really know why the morning sickness is happening. That's one that we don't really know. It's like when you get on a ship and you're kind of going back and forth because if you get seasick, because it's moving back and forth, it's messing with your equilibrium. And that is what is happening with this soul energy too, because this energy is so strong. It's so powerful. It's so pure and angelic. It doesn't have anything weighting it down. So to us, we probably feel like we're seasick. We're like, whoa, I'm going back and forth. This is messing with my equilibrium. Because just like you're not used to the sea. And it's interesting I talk about the sea because I was just talking about water. Interesting. I didn't even catch on to that until now, and how that all connects to what we're talking about. I love the universe. It's also that, feeling this and I just want to say, I have a sense of humor and I do talk about this, but this is a wonderful time. If you're not super sick during your pregnancy, which I hope that you're not, most people after the first trimester, they're good after that. Of course, there's all these different phases in pregnancy, where, there's anxiety and there's stress, and I help with all that, with my clients as well, getting them through that, especially the first time moms or people that have experienced loss. There definitely can be a lot there. So, but if you can, it's a really great time to start a project or a business that you've always wanted to when you're pregnant, because the ideas and the inspirations will flow very nicely from being so close to your baby's soul while they are growing inside of your womb, and getting ready to come out into Earthside. So essentially what I'm saying is women that are pregnant are very intuitive. Very, very, very intuitive. So those energies you're just going to feel so dialed in. Okay. So definitely use that opportunity, not only enjoying your pregnancy, but also using the opportunity to be able to maybe connect with yourself more as well. So when the spirit babies enter the womb, I said I was going to talk about this. I find this so interesting. So here's my philosophy. So here is where the spiritual and metaphysical beliefs are going to really intertwine. So I mean, I don't really think it's a debate, but I guess everyone has their own opinions. And by the way, no way is right or wrong. The only way if something is right or wrong is if it's something that you want to be on that vibrational frequency. So anybody trying to debate anybody on anything is honestly a waste of energy. Because why do people care so much about being right? Because it's ego. If you're truly an awake person, you don't need to fight with people and try to debate things. And I know that I'm very controversial for a lot of people. And it's not you, but they squeak through sometimes, and it's okay. I'm laughing because it doesn't affect me. Because I know how the universe works. We all have different perspectives, and no one's right or wrong. It's okay. And I don't care. I don't care if people don't agree with things that I talk about. I'm sure there's a lot of doctors out there that think I'm a wackadoo, and it's okay. That's their perspective. I think it's pretty wackadoo to not be including energy and mindset work and supporting people emotionally and energetically while they're trying to conceive. So there, we're on the same page. We both think each other's wackadoo. It's okay. It doesn't mean I don't respect them. Of course I do. I respect everybody because everybody is connected. We're all just different versions of God or source energy or universe, whatever you feel comfortable with. I use them all. And when I'm talking and in my beliefs or whatever, my what I resonate with, or you might have something different. Doesn't matter. They're just words. It's about the energy that's attached to things. It's just we get to choose what we want. And it's okay. Everyone can choose what they want. So back to spirit babies. So spirit babies are waiting in these energetic spaces. Now, energetic spaces, I don't know, maybe there are a ton of different energetic spaces. I don't think there's just one world. I mean, when I do energy channeling with some of the higher light beings, there's all these places. I said during COVID, because all I could do was meditate and do a self-hypnosis on myself. There was nothing else to do. And it was a very spiritual time. I think a very spiritual time for a lot of people, a big awakening for a lot of people. It did what it was supposed to do. It wasn't fun, of course. And I'm not going to talk about COVID, but I think you all know listening, but I would just go to these places and I would think to myself, I know that everyone is upset because they can't travel, but if they went inside of themselves, you can go anywhere you want to in consciousness. So there's all these different places that you can go that are of this world and not of this world. I mean, there's so many different places. But it is quite interesting. So they really, basically what this is they're in different energy spaces where they really are watching until it's time to come into the womb, until the womb is ready, per se, to come down the portal slide that I was talking about earlier. And it's really about being spiritually aligned. I'm going to add mentally too. And really, the question is, do they move into the womb immediately after conception, or are they going into the womb just before they are going to come into, earth side. Both. Both. Happens both. And I should note too, my philosophy here is the soul, if they are going to come into the womb, if they choose that, then they're not going to come in till about 14 to 16 weeks of the pregnancy, of gestation. So those pregnancies that happen that are chemical pregnancies, or those very early pregnancies that don't make it, that are not viable, most likely the soul is not there. They're watching, but I call it planting seeds. They're essentially planting seeds. Now, yes, is an embryo planting a seed? Of course. See, that's the thing. You know, the physical world lines up with the spirit world, but I don't think that most people think like that. But I see it all the time, like planting seeds. Well, an embryo is a seed. Energetically, these pregnancies that are not viable, they're also planting seeds. The spirit baby is watching the experience because they love you so much that they want you to evolve, to be ready for them to come in. And I gotta say that the souls that are coming in now are very advanced in consciousness. They're ready for very big time leadership. And so we, as their parents, have to be ready for that sort of energy coming into our life. And what I really mean by that is evolved enough to understand some of the things that they're talking about, or how to be a parent to a child like that. That's an absolute genius. And I'm not talking about genius and the whole human IQ shit. I'm talking about genius and that they understand how the universe works and that they're here for really big stuff. Okay? So, very different than some of the generations that are here on this earth now. So, drawing from the teachings of dream interpretation and intuitive parents, I'll discuss some perspectives here. So some women report the presence of a spirit baby lingering outside of the womb. I'm going to say that, but I also have gotten lots of messages all the time. Have gotten and get messages all the time about babies not necessarily wanting to be in the womb right away as well. So their connection is strengthening as the due date nears. So they could be watching. And you still feel their energy. You're pregnant with them, with their body, but you still feel the energy. And then they decide, oh, time to go. I'm going to go now, you know. Do I know why they do that? I don't. I mean, I always tell people, I'm human too. I know a lot of stuff and I can connect to a lot of energies, but I don't have all the answers. Anybody that tells you they have all the answers is full of shit, because they don't. Even people that are so awake and they're, you know, that's the one thing that can get so overwhelming at times. And I'm going to be careful of my language here. But there are so many people around. Like, I know there's like huge people, like huge followings and authors and people that are these so-called healers. And I can read their energy and I know that they're fake. So anyone that's telling you that they know everything, or they act like there's some guru, it's another word I don't care for, guru, that's not real. Because you're always growing. And if anyone ever thinks that they're done growing, then they've just moved right back into the ego. Or maybe they never left. And I won't talk about this too much, but I've met more narcissistic people in the last few years than I've ever met in my entire life. And maybe it's because I've changed. And on my other podcast, Intuitive Mind Lab Radio, I talk a lot about narcissism. Because there's a lot of people that are so confused about experiences that they've had and the gaslighting, and the medical industry gaslights you. And if you've experienced that, I'm sorry. You don't deserve that. But keep listening to my podcast because I'm going to build you back up. Because that's what I'm here for. And I've been doing this a long time, and I know exactly what people are told. I know how to help. And I know what people need. I know what the fertility community needs. And more than anything, the fertility needs support. Support of feeling as though they are heard. You are heard. So the soul is in alignment, and it does begin after conception and grows throughout the pregnancy. Like I stated, it really depends on the soul's wishes. And we don't really always know. I mean, some people remember. You know, I know my mom remembers when she was in the womb. I have memories of it too. So, but I'm going to give you some ideas here for honoring your spirit baby dreams. First off, I just want to say that record those dreams. You know, whip out your phone when you get up in the morning and start recording just whatever you remember. Or if you're in a meditation and you have all this amazing stuff that happened connecting with your baby, record that. Whip out your phone. I don't care if it makes sense or not. It will later. I can't tell you how many times I went back and listened to recordings of dreams I've had like years ago. And it makes sense to me now. You know, and it doesn't have to be years. It could be that maybe it'll make sense to you in a month. Maybe it'll make sense to you in your next cycle, or I don't know. Just record your dreams. And it also is great for your mind. You know, if we want to take care of our brains, meditation, challenging your brain, like, you know, people talk about crossword puzzles, things like that. But really, why do they talk about that? Because it's about challenging your brain. So challenging your brain to remember your dreams is a really great way to exercise your brain. So a few episodes ago, or one episode, I can't remember, I talked about how to set up an altar. Okay. And if you do book a spirit baby reading with me, one-on-one session, I do offer you get a spirit baby guide that it's also a guide on how to set up connecting as well as setting up a spirit baby altar. So that comes with it. There's a lot of information in there. And it, like I said, it does come complimentary with your session, as well as there's some exercises in there too. So just some closing thoughts. Pregnancy dreams go far beyond the typical brain sorting out our daily events. And they carry deep spiritual resonance, which we already talked about. But closing thoughts, summing it up, good stuff. So open your heart and listen to your intuition and trust the process. I know we hear that all the time, trust the process, but I'm going to take that way step further. Trust you. Trust you because you have all the answers within you. I don't like the whole stuff of process. Why? Because to me, it sounds like it's outside of you. Trust you. Learn to trust you and everything that you're doing in your life. So listen, beautiful, if you love today's episode, hit that subscribe button and share it with anyone that you know who's on a fertility or a spiritual path. Also pregnancy path too. I would love for you to leave a review. It's always so helpful to get your feedback. So definitely please leave us a review. And if you're ready to explore this topic even further and you would like a personal and meaningful one-on-one reading with me, all will be in the show notes. And fill out an application. Let's see if we're a good fit if you're interested in one of my fertility programs. But I also offer my one-on-one spirit baby readings, and I offer them individual sessions, which are offered individual, like I stated. But also what I was going to say is virtual. So I see clients from all over the world. So if you are not in my local area, we can do it virtually, and it's just as powerful. Also, if you're in the Denver, Colorado area, or if you're in Colorado and you want to drive and come see me, I've got clients all over Colorado that come visit me that are not necessarily in Denver or even the Denver area. Definitely we can meet in person. So you have that option as well. And then I also offer couple sessions. So if you and your partner want to do a session together, you guys can do that together. And unfortunately, those are only going to be virtually because my space is really cute and cozy. And I actually see more clients online virtually now than in person. So I really don't need a big space. So it's just cute and cozy, and it's the perfect little healing space. So I wouldn't have the space to fit both of you as a couple in that space, including myself. It just wouldn't be comfortable. So we're going to do that virtually for a couple session. And if you want to decode your dreams and understand these more profound messages within your dreams and yourself, then definitely all of these options would be a great fit for you and your baby and these wonderful soul kids that are coming into your life and manifesting on this planet. And again, any of my VIP programs, you do have to apply for that. I don't accept everyone because I want to make sure that the clients that I am taking into my small amount of clients that I have, that they are a good fit. As well as I'm super busy now. I'm helping so many people. And so I'm not always available to take on a client, but definitely apply. And that will be the first step in the process. And we can always add you to the wait list. But you do have the option to do the one-on-one Spirit Baby session with me, whether that be an individual session or a couple session. So until next time, beautiful, remember that your Spirit Baby is always with you and loves you.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Fertile Frequencies. Remember, your fertility is so much more than just your physical body. It's your energy, mindset, and the whole you. If you're ready to turn those what ifs into, oh my God, it's happening, make sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review, because your vibe deserves to be heard. Until next time, beautiful, keep your frequency high, your heart open, and your spirit ready to receive all the fertile winds coming your way. You've got this, and I've got you. See you next time on Fertile Frequencies Radio.